Hey everyone, we're back. Uh, CastleMiner Z, the remastering. I'm here with Heinz, our art director, and we're gonna start. Are we working today? Is everything going through? Because I keep changing my rig around here, and I just want to make sure everybody can hear us. Everybody can see everything, and we're all good. So Heinz has been with us from the beginning. I've known Heinz since man the 1990s. I don't know if we
Yeah,
should admit that. I think
yeah,
yeah, it was like I met Heinz at my first job in the real game industry back at Fossa Interactive in Chicago in 1990. I think it was 1998. I think it
that's
was
right.
like
That's right.
December of 1998. Microsoft bought the company. No, it was in August. It was the end of that summer. I remember that. It was like August. Microsoft bought the company. We were out in Seattle together in 19, January 1999, working on MechWarrior 4. Shipped that together.
That's good.
So we go way back. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like Hyde, you can introduce yourself a little bit if you want.
Sure. I mean, so that was well put. Like back in the late '90s, we were working at FASA in Chicago. It was like kind of an indie game company in a way, just but like a bigger one. And we were shopping for publishers for MechWarrior 4. Like we'd already done Mech Commander 2 with Microprose. And that was a real-time strategy game from MechWarrior days, and then MechWarrior 4 was our product after we tried to work on MechWarrior 3, and then we fell out with Microprose, and they gave it to Zipper, and now we're going to make MechWarrior 4. So when I met Tom, brilliant programmer, he was on a team working with us on tools, and he worked with this guy named Michael Gartner, who's an amazing personality, to create terrain tools for MechWarrior 4, and like sort of figure out how we're going to make all these big worlds. So, and from there on, it was we went to Redmond and worked for Microsoft. That was also an interesting story that goes on for days. But uh,
Those were the good old days. It was
yeah,
that peak tech bubble. I think was
right,
the
yeah. No, it was
the.
pre 9/11, the days of wine and roses. Like they flew us all out and like
Hmm.
put us up in corner suites at the Alexis in Seattle and limoed us around, and gave us sort of fake interviews. It was a beautiful thing.
It's funny. I tell this story a lot about the game industry because it was such a weird experience for me because I was just out of college and they put us up downtown. You're right. It was the
Yeah,
Alexa. Yeah,
Alexa, something.
yeah. And the suite they put me in was like it was bigger than the house I grew up in. Like, and it was like so weird. Like, I got out of college, I interviewed at this company. 3 months later, I'm taken out of this place, and I just remember, like, the night before the interviews, like standing in front, like it had these. There was like the ceilings were really high and had these giant windows that overlooked the sound, and I just remember overlooking the sound, watching the ferries go out into the sound. I'd never been in Seattle before, and I was thought like, oh, it's crazy how life works, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, and then everything took a shit like 6 months later or so. I think
Yeah.
so.
Well,
Uh,
everyone here is obviously for CastleMiner Z, and the short version of that story is that in early 2010s, like Tom roped me in after I was done with the whole AAA thing for a while, and we started making games for XBLIG. But he had already made this game CastleMiner and CastleMiner Z with our other partner John, and so it was an exciting time because you could just publish on this crazy platform, which was in the dusty little corner of the 360. So if you had like 4 Microsoft credits left over from whatever game you bought, you could stroll down there and buy a game for $1. And it turned out a lot of people did that, and that was pretty amazing. So I think basically the games that you and I worked on were Avatar Laser Wars 2 and Avatar Warfare,
yeah.
which both ended up, along with Castle Miners, it was the top game, but we were in the top 20 best selling of all time on XBLIG. So that was pretty rad. And the story goes on from there, but let's focus on Castle Miner.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about this in one of the other streams. I was talking about how somebody asked at one point one of my favorite ones, and I think the Laser War games were like like one of my favorites to put together.
Oh yeah,
because it
that
was
was
just
fun.
they were simple and they like the way they came out was really good. And to me, the the helicopter scene in Avatar Warfare, I just was always one of my favorite things of all times. You know, just like the opening with the guy standing out of the door of the
Right.
helicopter.
I mean, we were blatantly like mimicking a little bit of Modern Warfare 2, but the Avatar thing was fun because like everyone could bring their own look to the game, and that just made it turn into madness, like guys running around in top hats and stuff. So, all right, so Tom, are you
Yeah,
still there?
I disappeared here. I don't
I'm in this
know.
weird space
So
above you.
I'm
It's
gonna flip to your screen. Why don't you show some stuff off while I
all right.
figure out why
Sure.
I'm gone?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that. So we can talk a little bit about
Are you ready to flip over? I could.
yeah, I can share my screen now. Sorry. It's like this whole streaming thing is kind of blowing my mind. All right. So I've shared. So you can see me now, but on my other screen. So early on when we got into this project, we were originally working in Unity, and you know, the idea was that we're going to make the remaster of this game. We had worked together in Unity for quite a while, like 10 years, and making games and shipping them. And so uh, let's see if we can get the graphics here, bro. Yeah, I'm faded. uh, so the idea was that we were worried about lighting and we were worried about the look of the game. Like we really wanted to bring it up to modern standards, or at least in terms of what a voxel game can be. So the idea was that we wanted to look at Unity, and Unity just didn't have what we needed, which was good global illumination solutions. So global illumination is this bounce light, and that's what Lumen does really well in Unreal. And then we're also looking at materials and shaders, and just trying to get the game to have better looking voxels. So that was part of it. Was trying to get into that. And, Unreal has a more sophisticated system for materials in general and what we can do with them and manipulate them. So I had initially done a test in Unreal, and I don't know if anyone can see my screen yet, but I see me in the background of you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me do this. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was
All right.
doing pants on fire uh, camera rerouting here.
It's like Geordie LaForge kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, let's. I don't see you sharing your screen.
I am, but let me try one because I can see it. I can see it in our
Well, I don't
Discord.
know that you are. Like the,
There's doubt. Okay, hang on. Let me. I'll stop and restart it just so. Okay.
it's funny. We actually rehearsed this. Like we were just the last hour here.
Yeah.
We were figuring
All
out how
right.
to do these transitions and stuff. I don't.
All right. So it's reshared now. And if you get out of like in your Discord, get out of full screen, you can see all the windows. Uh,
Let me roll to. Hold on a second while I flip this around. I'm gonna.
all right.
Yeah. This is. I make games and I don't. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. As long as we're able to recover, I think this is like we're good. Okay. There we go.
Hey. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully we can see this. This is like a cube test scene. So we're working in Unity. Unity's a great engine. We've shipped games in it, but like in terms of like the shortest distance between us and a better lighting solution and a better material solution was really Unreal. And people bag on Unreal, and I get that, but I think it's very very specific to the type of game we're making. I think it's a good solution. So this is like an early test that I was doing in there. So two things I'll show you here really quick. Okay, so one thing is about materials, and this is essentially the original CastleMiner dirt material, right? And so artistically, what we're looking to do with what they call PBR materials or physically based rendering materials is try to bring out as much depth. Like this is the cube. It's like this is the simplest possible model, right? So everything we get from materials is really the look of the game. So you can see here the idea was to essentially bring out the depth of this material. So did some work on what they call roughness textures and different normal maps and stuff, and try to make this look as good as possible. And the same thing over here is we got this stone material, and it's stone, but you want to pick up a little bit of light from this. You want to get some nice lighting variation, across this kind of thing. So that was the point of the material. So now I'll show you. Let's get in here. Whoops, and get inside this little cave here, right? So another thing we wanted to do was basically bring out the qualities of global illumination. So this bounced light. So let me demonstrate this really quick. So right now, this on, boom. Okay, so I'm in a dark box full of cubes, right? And I'm just going to open up some of these, like just delete them, right? So one of this experience where when you're within inside of a cave or a tunnel or whatever that you could essentially get this sense of volume inside the space. So as I'm deleting these cubes, what you'll notice is that there's more and more light entering this cave that we're in, right? So just keep going here. Do All right. So you're starting to see these surfaces inside the cave, and this is bounced light. The light's coming in, it's hitting these cubes, and it's bouncing around inside the space. That's what we call global illumination. And the other part of this is the idea of volumetric light. So these light rays that you see coming in through the cubes is about light penetrating the volume of fog and broadcasting that forward into what they call volumetric lighting or volumetric shadows. And I think this is another key thing about the look that we want. And then hopefully, I don't know if you guys can see this on the stream, but if you notice the floor of this space, right? Uh, the idea is that we're breaking up the light here, and we're giving this looking like a very chunky looking rock in a way that you can also see some lighting highlights here. So anyway, the point of this is that we did some pre-visualization of what we wanted to do, and decided together that Unreal was going to be the ticket for that. So that's where we are. Yeah.
This is one of the things that I was really excited about doing this with because I thought there was oh, we got a Discord issue. Yeah, we have to figure out. Yeah. Okay. Uh, Technical. Yeah. We have to. I was excited about having a version of CastleMiner that looked like it should be on uh, modern hardware. I think I have like totally lost you.
That's okay. I'm in the background. It's-
Oh, you're there?
yeah, yeah. I'm on the audio, hopefully. So
It's the a lot of stuff. Yeah, this is super exciting. Like I didn't when I started doing these things, I didn't anticipate like doing a show. Like I was gonna like turn on my camera and just have us working together. There we go. Got you back.
if you haven't already figured it out, this is the first time we try to do this.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
All right.
flipping between screens is rough. We'll have to. I I need
Eventually
a
get this sorted out. Yeah.
I need a guy. I need a guy here in a booth that's say that. Yeah. So when we were doing this, I wanted to make sure that when we remade this, that it was sort of worth remaking. And what we did is we talked about what would Castle Miner look like on modern day on modern day hardware with modern day technology, and I wanted to make sure we push that limit as much as possible. So we did a lot of tests on what the game should look like, and that's kind of what we're going through right now. Is like we're trying to. I think we're pretty far along, but we're establishing what the game should look like, and what holistically, like what the feeling and the atmosphere and the overall look of the game is. And that was like I keep saying that this was our first milestone is to get the world looking like really amazing, and then just sort of like build the game out from there. And I think we've done a really good job. I've been really impressed so far. The first iteration we did at Unity um, really, to me, seemed really similar to what was there already. Like there wasn't enough of a jump for it, and to me,
Right.
it's
Right.
it all comes down to lighting in the end. You can have really simple stuff that's lighted really well, lit really well, and it's it makes such a difference. I always think of that, like, what is it, the Cornell cube or whatever it is, the that computer graphics thing, that it's like the most simple geometry, but once you start getting better and better lighting, like the like really simple stuff looks better. And I didn't want to change the game itself. Like I didn't want to turn. I've actually spent many years trying to figure out how the game should be remade. So I toyed around with a lot of ideas, but I just wanted to I didn't want to make something that was so dramatically different that it wasn't recognizable as the game anymore. So the point here is to keep the nostalgia and to but deliver something that looks modern, and we have a lot of plans for that, and we're excited to show you the stuff that's coming down the pipe with that stuff. So we can do a couple things here. We could do like a Q&A if you guys want. I can do just because I think a lot of people end up showing up new to these streams. Is I could kind of just do a fly through of the new world, and maybe Heinz could like sort of pick up questions in the chat as we're doing that, and that'll give people that have just made it to the stream for the first time like a view of sort of like what things are looking like so far.
Yeah.
I haven't got a lot of things done between yesterday and today. I was working on ice caves and I didn't have a chance to finish them last night. So we could look at where I am with that. And the other thing too is I was talking to John this morning, and he said that there will definitely be water that flows over things. So I want to put water on top of the lagoon. So the lagoon will have like water that comes down like um, waterfalls, and then the waterfalls will hit things, and the waterfalls will fall after that. So it'll dramatically change the look of that environment. Um, so let me flip to here. There we go. Yeah. Okay, that was not as painful as before. And here we have the basic world. John had I just got a message from him right before the stream where he said that the chunk loading is way better now. I don't have his changes yet. I was afraid to take them right before the stream, but here we go. You could kind of see we're still getting the look of a lot of the materials right. Here's the tower as you remember it. The world in the new CastleMiner is much deeper than the old world, and we can just do a quick shot down to hell to see to give you an idea. Like before, I think it was only like 38 or 40 blocks down there. There's like I think like close to 200 now. And I'm planning on adding a lot more stuff underground now that I have the space in the room to do it. A lot more procedural content underground. Let's go through some tunnels to see if we can get down there. And somebody asked in the last stream how long we've been working on this, and really this just started to come together at the end of December. So it's to me, it's really amazing and a testament to John, who's an amazing engineer, to
Yep.
to bring this up so fast. Um,
Yep.
and
Definitely.
here we're down in the lower levels. We're starting to see lava. I'm gonna turn my local light off, and you could kind of see like this is we're using real-time ray tracing for this stuff, and things like lava that emit light will bring those light, will light up the caves around things in a
Yeah.
very like dramatic and realistic way. You kind of get that view right here.
That's freaking
Um,
badass, man.
yeah,
No,
it is. It's like
yeah.
little things like that. So when this stuff starts coming together, when there's water underground and lights and stuff, this will actually look really amazing. I'm really excited for it. turn on my local light here. And we're down in hell down here. This is our new revised hell. We did this on one of the streams. We put these stalactites in here. Here's the bottom of the tower that we hit down here. This shouldn't be bright down here. This should actually be dark. It'll make it look like you're underground. You're actually, what you're seeing here is the sky through the holes here, but that's all stand-in. The lava here is new. We have the flowing lava. This will this is stand-in art too, so this will end up looking better in the end. But if you remember, the old lava was the lava blocks down here, but I think you could fall through them. There was a special type of lava block we had. These are we're gonna have flowing lava now, and it's looking like we may have some other dynamic blocks too. But I'll wait till we have more of that implemented until we can show that off. Let me just teleport to the top.
Questions coming in about Sky. Yes, we still want to have the creepy vibe of the original game, but you're going to see a lot more weather changes and stuff like interesting scenarios, right? So we want that oppressive thing, especially when weird stuff is happening. Sorry, and what we'll try to do is balance that with some nice tension and relief.
Yeah, so since we I hadn't mentioned the weather yet, but that is going to be a big part of CastleMiner, of the new CastleMiner, is a dynamic weather system. Somebody in the chat picked up on the fact that we have temperature in the game, and this is going to be another part of it too. And since we've done that, I might as well drop some weather in the game and give you an example of how things will change. So we have a thunderstorm going on here. Let me turn my light off.
Yeah, this is ridiculous, man. And what's cool about the thunderstorm is like the rain will gather, on the surfaces, and form puddles and stuff. It's ridiculous. It's just
So again, this isn't polished. Like, we don't have, like, the skies aren't the right color and everything like that. But there'll be a dramatic weather system inside the game.
Yeah. Check out that light.
Let's do this. Let's go to let's go to some cloudy skies. We can see some nice dramatic clouds here. Let's go out to the desert. I think, what were we? We were just talking about this today. 2000 is out in the desert somewhere. There's still water on the ground from the storms. And let's roll a big dust storm through the desert.
Oh yeah. So you guys, picture this, but now maybe we tie some like some intense scenarios to like weather systems, like certain types of threats come out of these different types of weather events and stuff. So there's a lot of cool possibilities with this stuff.
And the other thing I haven't, I realize the audio is cut off here, so I've just, for a second, I'm gonna put on, we'll put the dust storm back, and I'll bring the audio back in.
Nice.
It's audio. I did that. There.
Let's be an ornery. Yeah, so I think the idea is to like keep the experience, interesting. Like, you're going to travel to different biomes and you're going to find these different places, but we're not going to have time of day change, but we're also going to have the ability to roll in these different types of weather systems, from like super mellow stuff to like insane, like, blizzards and rainstorms and stuff. So
let me, while we're doing this, I'll do so what's going to happen is the journey from the desert to the Arctic is going to be this, like, winter journey that builds up and builds up until you're in a blizzard, and you end up fighting the Arctic dragon, the ice dragon. Let me zip out to the with Unreal, there's a key that if you accidentally press, if we go out
Right.
to, I think it's 5,000 is, no, we're out in hell here. Let's, too far, too far, too far, 4,000. Uh, Parachuting in.
Question came up was, will there be any way of getting bonus items at the start, like a bloodstone pickaxe or laser gun, like in the previous game?
I imagine there probably will be. Yeah,
Right.
this was sort of like a core loyalty thing. Um, we will figure out some way to do that. Uh, so let's while we're here, let's let's go back to the weather. Let's drop in. First, we'll start with like some light snow.
Nice. So as you can see, like a lot of things change with weather systems. Like the way this system is designed, like weather controls a lot of the lighting too. So when you're rolling clouds, you get overcast, and then you've got everything's dynamic. So clouds are moving. You get snow particles, and now you've got the the more serious snow going. This is like full blizzard at this point here.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this is that this all works. Let's see if I can do this without breaking anything. This all works day and night.
Yeah,
So we can roll this to see, like, we could be a snowstorm at night.
right. This is like Game of Thrones now. So yeah,
And
that's
again, this is
badass.
all like the most early versions of this. Like, this is the intent is to tune this stuff up, uh, specifically for each thing and make it and to maintain the atmosphere of the game. But the game, oh, I got my light on. That's what's going on there. I should
Oh yeah.
let's go back to the blizzard with the
You see how the fog was picking up his light too. So it's
yeah.
like it's crazy how that volumetric stuff works. But this is crazy, and what you can barely see here is that snow is accumulating on the cubes. So it's like there's a dusting of snow like building up over
Yeah,
everything.
I
Yeah.
think you can see it down here. If we turn the light on, you can see that the snow
Yeah.
is actually building up on things inside the surfaces. Just like the surfaces will get wet when it rains. So here, I mean, let's turn our light off. It's like, we're sitting there, we're hunkered down in the, in a cave in the winter in a blizzard at night. And if we can, I'm going to throw the audio on for a second. You can hear it, of course. Hear like so for me, I think all of us on the team look at games in a different way, and my thing is always atmosphere. Like, it's always about creating these, sort of atmospheric or emotional conditions that you respond to. So the idea of being like, hit by the weather on top of the enemies is, like, I think, a super cool thing. Also, you can see here that we have a temperature thing in the game. So like right now it knows that it's snowing and that it's much colder outside right now.
Right.
Um,
Another
so
question
yeah, so
was,
that's good.
will the daytime be longer now? Seemed like it didn't last long in the original.
So we were just talking about this today. This is interesting. The day and night cycle in CastleMiner was 8 minutes and 8 minutes. I have this vague memory of like shortening it like changing it as the distance went on. But I guess we must have pulled that out at some point, probably because it made things too difficult. Oh, here we go. At night we have up here we have the aurora shows up for us.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. Up when you get into the polar regions, this is what'll happen.
Yeah.
Um, Somebody here is talking about Yetis. I think that's a great suggestion. Like, that's a like,
Hell yeah. I'm putting that on my list right now.
yeah, like that's actually a really really good suggestion. Um, but the but yeah, there's a weather system, and I think that atmosphere will be right. I can't remember what the question was before I got distracted here by the Yetis. The Somebody's asking here if the game will have Xbox avatars, and I actually don't think it's possible. If it was, I 100% would put them in, um, but it isn't possible. Um,
I mean, we could physically do it because we still have all the original data, but like it seems like we're opening us, this whole problem set. It'd
yeah,
be better
we
for us
would
to make our own designs
we
and
would have to make the avatars, yeah, ourselves to the problems. Um, Yeah, yeah. That's exciting stuff. It's a lot of there's going to be a lot of new stuff in the atmosphere. The whole plan is to keep the atmosphere being, the same and creepy, but also, giving you different aspects of that, and in the different landscapes, making you feel like you're experiencing things in these different environments. See what else we got here. Yeah, people are excited about the possibility of new monsters. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, so
Someone's
yeah, go ahead.
asking who I am, just as a refreshes. I've worked with Tom for many, many years, like 20 plus, and we've worked on many games, but CastleMiner Remake is, again, he was kind enough to bring me on to help out with the graphics stuff. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, this has turned into something that I hadn't really anticipated. So it feels weird to like bring it back and start like messing around with. Oh, we were gonna do a little fly through the world. Like let's do that. Bring it back to just me messing around with Perlin noise. Um, and we haven't really cruised through the world at night. And I think a lot of people, we were doing this in one of the other streams. I got to point myself in the right direction. I got to make a compass at some point. So if somebody wants to be on a live stream while I make a compass, um, let me know because I'll.
no, I need a compass too.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of hard to find your way. I always look at the number here moving around.
Yeah.
Um, the world is much bigger than it used to be. It's almost twice the size that it used to be before, and I did that for several reasons. One of them was to give me more space to do interesting stuff, but the other one was to allow for better transitions between biomes because a lot of them in the old game were just lines and weird stuff happened. So you can see here we're heading towards the mountains, and you're starting to see parts of the mountains come up as we're getting closer to them. Again, the block loading is something that we're in the middle of working on, so this won't be this slow in the final game. And plus, there's a lot of other stuff going on this PC right now, so I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. But John had just fixed this before, but you could see the transitions between the Arctic and the mountain zones are like much smoother now. Like we're in a transition zone right now. And it's not obvious, like it's kind of transitioning in a natural way. Here we have a little alien crash site that was not big enough to create a space rock crater, which is interesting. So this is the kind of emergent stuff that happens. We should still be able to go under this, though, I think. It's interesting when you build things procedurally, you get things that you don't necessarily expect. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we're at the bottom of this. Oh, there we go. The lights are starting to adjust, and it's created a big empty crater. It's such a empty space with no. We don't have anything. Hey, you know what I could do? Just learned to do this earlier. Is we can put some lava down, and lava has lights. Lava.
This is like the CastleMiner parking garage.
Yeah.
That's where you put all your
Here,
autos down there.
I'm going to. God, I don't know what the name for the lava block is. Is it surface lava?
I can tell you.
Yeah, there's not a easy way to there like looking it up is actually I could look it
There's,
up in the code. Hold on a second.
and it's in the texture array too. Let's see who gets to it first.
Uh, surface lava. Yeah.
Right. You stopped appearing in the window, by the way.
I don't exactly know why that's happening, but I got a fix for it now. So
Yes.
there we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have to figure out. I think that there might be like a I'm using a new camera today, and I think there might be like a timeout or something on it. Like,
I blame Discord.
yeah, there we go. So I can put surface lava down. So let me just start decorating. And it's making me think that maybe in these crash sites I should put lava in here. In fact, I'm going to write that down because they're too dark.
Okay, a couple quick questions on the chat here. So yes, it is Unreal 5.5. That's the engine we've decided to go with. Would villages with friendly NPCs be possible with the vision you guys have?
So interesting you're saying I was this is kind of a technical thing. The way that we generate our world in CastleMiner makes this difficult, but I have a plan to make it so that I can do those things. And my ultimate plan, far, far away, is if everything works out, is to have you guys making that stuff so that you guys could build prefabs that other people could use. So immediately, I would almost guarantee you that we will not ship with that. But it is like I spent a significant amount of time on the phone with John today talking about how we would create more complicated things like that. So here we go. We put some lanterns up, and this is a really good example of the emissive lighting in the place. Is
Right.
that so? Eventually, you would be able to put your own blocks down that would light stuff up in the world, and we don't have torches or anything, or lanterns or anything left, like in the game right now. But you could definitely. It shows you that even a really big open dark space like that is something that you can illuminate, and this is all done through like emissive lighting, which is really cool. um,
Yep. More questions. Will there be passive mobs such as cows or or something or other aspects like a food water system? Interesting.
I don't see myself implementing a food system to the game because the problem with that is that if you introduce food and hunger, then you need like a whole hunting
Yeah.
dynamic, and you're essentially building another game at that point. You're building like a hunting simulator. And when we built Castle Miner, we really wanted to focus on having like just sort of like a fun, quick zombie game. It's kind of fun to like put these lamps through the
Yeah,
mountains.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Like this is the first time I've actually done this, where I've flown around and just put lights on things. Uh,
Do you plan on allowing fan-made content like mods?
uh, I would like to do that. We have somebody on the team who has a lot of experience doing live ops. He's on the team specifically for this reason. So I would say that that is definitely in the plans. We're a small team though, and just getting a game out the door for us right now is a significant challenge, especially since we're not tooled up for it. And we're all using new tools. So I think that all of that stuff would happen post release. And of course, it'll hinge a lot on whether how the game is received. So spread the word out there and follow, like, and subscribe our streams, and this helps us out getting because the more people that play the game, the more ability we have to deliver things like that into the game.
Right, for sure. Another question, because they're coming in fast and hard here. Would the lava and water stuff have movement so you break a block and the water could go there?
Yes, that is the plan. Um, the This was already existed in Castle Miner Warfare, so we're just bringing a lot of that stuff back in. I mean, when I say bringing it in, we're not really like everything's new, and I'm kind of like really downplaying John's part in this, but John is re-engineering everything from the ground up. But with the code that we have to do water systems, like you're familiar with in Minecraft, we have to do that, and that is the plan for the game. So there'll be water blocks, water areas and water blocks peppered all over that will work in that way. At least that is the plan right now, and we don't really see any reason why that can't be. This is a good example of the transition between the desert and the mountains. Like here, we're seeing that this used to sort of just be a line where you walked up to the mountains, and as you come into the mountains, you start to, they start to appear in front of you. The other thing we added is oases. Oh, we got one. I got lucky. We got one right here.
Ooh,
This is not the art. This is stand-in art for the water. The water is temporarily is alien slime, and you could see the
nice.
alien slime moves around. This isn't supposed to be here. This is supposed to be water. So once the water goes in, we could do that. And we have palm trees, and I got the textures in there today.
Nice.
So we can
Nice.
take a first look at this. I think this is like
And
one
this
of the first
beautiful
times.
green light.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna change the time of day here to daytime,
Yeah.
and you can see that these are like palm trees here that appear in the oases.
Nice.
Yeah, these are our little oases here that'll appear in the desert every once in a while. Looks like there's another one over the horizon there. Somebody's asking if the inventory UI is going to be the same as the current. I'm imagining all the UI will be different. I don't really see a reason to recreate the UI in the game. Um, yeah, here's our little.
And there's generations of UI, right? So there was the original
Exactly.
Xbox game, and then there was the PC Steam initial release, and then a subsequent release after that. So all of them had different, almost different UIs. But we
Yeah,
just want to make it as clean and as fast as possible. I would imagine is the
I
goal.
think the original UI I did in like one night. Like I think I like everything, the art, I slapped everything together in like a single night. Like it wasn't a lot of, um, like a whole lot of thought given to it. So
Yeah.
it seems kind of ridiculous to recreate that. It was, put in there as like, like a utility. And I know that the UI changed post. I think a lot of people history of the game is that we did the original Castle Miner on the Xbox, and we did a bunch of updates, and then we did a another Castle Miner like a revision in that Heinz did most of the work on that in when we went to Steam, and then there was a company after that that was doing updates to the game for us, and they introduced a lot of the stuff to the game. I wasn't as involved with that. A lot of that stuff, some of it was really good. Some of it I wasn't crazy about. They was a really great team. They were really excellent at doing it. But I don't think I'm going to recreate a lot of this stuff. So I know one of the things that they had was this two-tiered inventory bar, and I think we'll probably just revisit the inventory the UI altogether. This is the lagoon. We've moved our way into the lagoon, and we did in one of the other streams we were doing. We were showing that there's water now in the lagoons. Like you have to imagine that this won't be slime goo anymore. This will be like really
Oh, darn.
kick ass
Yeah.
looking. It's all standing, kick ass looking water, but they're at the floors of lagoons. And what I was gonna do, and I could maybe start at the end of this stream if we do it, is that I'm gonna put water on the tops of the plateaus here so that it falls down like waterfalls when it comes in. So the water, like here's a good example. If the water came over one edge here, it would like fall down and cascade over. So the whole lagoon would be filled with these waterfalls. And I know that somebody said this like it reminds you of the old Castle Miner, like it's too happy. Um, it's an interesting rock formation in the middle of the water there. That's the I spend most of my time these days like going around looking at stuff like this, like trying to understand like why, like how did a rock end up in the middle of the. I actually know how this one is, but I see little anomalies, and I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out getting the stuff under the surface looking really good, like making sense and working good. Where I think that there was a lot of issues in the original Castle Miner like that. With
Yeah.
all of this, I've worked hard to preserve the original Castle Miner. A version of the world that's the original Castle Miner. So I'm hoping in the final game that you'll be able to like hit a mode and go into like the pure exact old Castle Miner world without the additions if you want to do that. Um,
Two quick questions that have
yeah.
come up in the chat. So much earlier in the chat, someone said, like, what do you see happening with the enemies in terms of this release? And I think you and I have talked about this quite a bit, and we want those that classic zombie and dragon and stuff, but we want to update the look. Obviously, I mean the graphics of that are important, and then there's also this idea of potentially having different new enemies. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is a hard one for me because there's this effort I'm trying to make through this to make sure I preserve the nostalgia of the game, to make it sure like it doesn't just feel like a completely different game, and I'm not exactly sure what to do with the enemies at this point. We've been toying with it. I know that like somewhere on the Discord channel. I accidentally released some early versions of one of the revamps of the zombies. That actually probably is not going to make it into the game. There's like when you do this, there's a lot of iterations of things that you do, and you try things out and you see how things are going to go. So we still don't have answers to that, and I don't really have a good answer to it. Like on some level, the monsters have to remind you of the original monsters in the game, but also we would like to make them look better and do more with that. So
Right.
and adding monsters is actually a fairly easy thing to do as we progress the game. Like if you guys were with us from the beginning, you realize that we shipped with like maybe half the monsters that we did in the final version. Like that was something that was easy to add on. Um, so the plan right now is like when I have a example of what the monsters will look like, I'll definitely show it to you. But that's also on like our next miles. That's like 2 milestones away from us. Like our
Yeah.
first one is the world. The second one is getting the player in there and the deconstruction and construction of the world looking good. And then the final one there is combat. We're a ways off from getting there, but things are moving quick. So like eventually we'll get there.
Yeah. And the other thing I've seen come up frequently here is the idea of the original soundtrack, and this seems to come up in the chat, the stream I saw before. But like, the vision for the soundtrack is old stuff coming back, are you doing new stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we're all musicians. It's a weird thing about the game industry. I think that almost everybody in the game industry are like serious musicians. The music is such a big deal for me in the games. The to me the original soundtrack stuff is iconic. We'll definitely be using that stuff. My plan honestly is to keep all the original music and then add more stuff to it. Like I don't I because I think that the soundtracks were sort of like iconic pieces of the game.
Definitely. And
Someone's
then,
getting somebody asked here about a release date here.
yes.
Like I don't know. I wish I did. Uh, my plan is to release this year. Like this is like that's what's on my radar. Um, I think if it goes longer than that, I think this might become problematic. But I think that we definitely want a version of this that that would. But I mean, but no promises. Again, I can't. I wish I knew the date. I would, if I knew it, I would tell it to you. I would, I'd
Uh,
post it on the calendar. I would start the hype and everything. But it's usually about the way it usually works out is about 3/4 of the way through the project you start to know where that date is exactly going to be, and then usually in
yeah.
our projects it was at that point that we could start kind of the marketing wagon at that point because you knew exactly when it was going to come, that trajectory. Early in the project you're doing a lot of experimenting and you don't want to like stop that experimenting from happening. You want to make sure that everybody is like kind of, it's what we call pre-production, is everybody is kind of doing their thing and then things solidify, and ultimately making games is an artistic expression, so it has to come together in a way that is magical. I always say that games ultimately have to be greater than the sum of their parts. So you have to
Right.
bring all the things together, and they have to come together in some magical way that works. And that often is not a predictable pathway. It's not something you can predict. You know, like if you were making productivity software, it's not something that you can predict from beginning to end.
Yep.
So
That's a good point because like it's not just a list of tasks that we have to get done, like, getting all the content working and all that sort of stuff, but there's a lot of testing that we have to do to make sure it feels good and like it's good frame rate and that the original vibe and the feeling is there and I think we have Tom has all the old numbers and stuff to make all that work, but it's bigger world and a new game engine. We just need to dial that in, and so there might be. But I think it's like when it's ready, so guys don't get something that's like half baked.
yeah, and if you have been with us over the years, you realize that we don't really ship half-baked things. Like
Right.
it's like we don't ship the like products that are just a promise for something in the future. Like everything that we've shipped has been some sort of like whole cohesive. Definitely, there's been things to improve and there's been bugs and stuff like that, but it's not like a half-finished thing. Like everything is a cohesive, and that would never change. We would never ship something that was like not a product.
No.
One of the things I was going to say real quick here while I'm in this area was that everybody complains that this is like the old CastleMiner and it's too happy, but this is the beauty of the weather system is that really quickly, and I've been careful up to this point to not show the screenshots like this, is that this turns into a whole different place like inside of a thunderstorm.
Yep.
So the point here is that even these places that looked like they're kind of happy and cheerful, kind of have a dark side to them. You know, they can turn into like different places, and that's one of the reasons why I think this would actually probably look cool in the fog. That the weather system is so important because it lets us add this atmosphere to places, but then lets us change the atmosphere, dynamically as things are
Right.
going on.
Yeah, and I think we've discussed that like your idea that is each area is going to have its own kind of little mini biome, in terms of like time of day looks as well as weather and sun and sky settings. Like the hope is to make it like, okay, we're in the desert, we're seeing a whole new, you know, random, amount of different possibilities in terms of what you could see or experience there. But um, then you take that and you marry that with the idea that storms or different weather conditions could bring out different gameplay conditions, and I think that's super, super cool.
Yeah, and one of the things that, of course, came up like immediately when we started talking about this was tying, weapon enemies to weather at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
So I guess there's probably some expectation that that will be at some dynamic of the game.
Yeah.
This is the famous sandbar we're out here, and I just want to show again. It's one of the things that I changed about the world was that the world is a bunch of concentric rings, and now this is like the world is a very natural coastline look to it. So this boundary used to feel like very very rigid, and now this is sort of like a natural looking coastline in between these two biomes. And if anybody who played the game, this sandbar is like such an iconic part of the game because it was the point where you came over this hill and the first biome music started to play. And you got an idea that there was more stuff going on there.
Yeah.
And by this time, we've like flown ourselves back, and this world should feel really familiar to us because this one hasn't really changed very much at all. This is sort of like the iconic original Castle Miner world.
Yeah. Well, it's already starting to feel pretty good, and I'm super looking forward to us bringing life into these worlds and like random stuff. It should be super awesome.
So we're rounding out the hour here. Let's field some questions and then we'll probably wrap this up. Somebody keeps talking to yeah, it was maybe we're talking to John here and I thought maybe he was
Yeah.
in the chat or something. John was supposed to make it today. I think he said he's going to come to the next one. John has been from the very beginning worked on this was I think Castle Miner, the original Castle Miner was the first game that he worked on with us and everybody kind of like did their own thing for a while, but it's just amazing that everybody is back in the same place at the same time. To make this happen, it's like very very serendipitous that all of this
Yeah.
came together.
Yeah, it's like getting the band back together, man. I'm gonna make the new album.
Yeah. Somebody's asking here about like everyone's asking about the dragons. They drag it 100% like dragons and CastleMiner Z. They like there's no taking the dragons out. It was a fundamental part of the game from the beginning. The thing I always said here, I've been saying here, is that what my vision for the game originally was like Navy SEALs fighting dragons. Like that's the whole like the whole thing. So the idea that you have combat and the dragons and we're definitely it's definitely something we're going to be paying attention to. I always thought the dragons were such a great. The dragons didn't actually. I don't know if people have been there since the beginning. The dragons didn't ship with like the original game, but it was like I think one of the very first additions that we put in. It was always planned. It just was something that we didn't ship with. Um, Somebody here is suggesting new ores. I really like that idea. We have because the world is so much deeper now. We have space for new ores, and my vision for the game originally, I always say, was like a 3D Terraria, where you have this big world and you progress through the world with a crafting, tree, and so like you progress through crafting, and I think that crafting is such a big part of it. So a new ores would allow us to have a builder like build a bigger crafting tree, which is like the ultimate vision. The game that I always wanted to make was a game that had like lots of enemies and lots of crafting in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody here is talking about flying on dragons. That has come up for since that we put in dragons. People wanted to fly on dragons. Like I almost think that we should figure out a way to make that happen because like I've literally heard that since the very first time we put in dragons, and it's such a big world too. So it's like getting around in the world is like kind of a big exploring it is kind of a big part of it. There were problems with the original dragons. There was like technical problems that we ran into, and I think that actually Unreal will help us solve a lot of those problems.
Yeah. Unreal is an interesting way to develop games. It's so much different than Unity in so many ways, and there's a lot of stuff I really enjoy about it, which is just like you can get what you have in your head on screen really, really fast. So
Yeah, I'm amazed at just the visual fidelity right out of the box. Like
yeah.
just how easy it is to make things look great in Unreal. It's amazing. Somebody here is asking about the original Castle Miner. Um, I I'm reluctant to say anything about this because I could always change. Like I don't see myself releasing an OG Castle Miner game um, by itself, but I could see it being like a mode in this or like a an Easter egg or something. Um, because I don't know that the Castle Miner game would stand up nowadays on its own. And it's we have built an environment where we could make that look really good. So if the thing is like the large selection of blocks, which was the big thing in Castle Miner and the free building, I think that that's something that we could probably deliver as like a game mode or an unlock or something like that. I think it'd be a fun thing to bring back.
Yep.
Okay, maybe we'll take like one or two more questions here, and then we'll wrap this up. Um, oh, one of the things I want to do before I drop off here is I want to do two quick plugs. Um, the first one is for the Discord community. The Discord community. This is the community has started a server. It's run um, completely by the community. I don't have anything to do with it. Uh,
Yeah. Cool Discord for sure.
and they've done a really great job, and they've done it for a really long time. So I want to make sure that I drop a link to the Discord server on here. There's a lot of people interested in this. I'm on the Discord server um, all day long. I'm usually posting screenshots on there. I keep there we go. Every time I go to do this, I run into the same set of problems. So here's a link to the Castle Miner Discord server run by the community. I dropped that in the chat. The other one I'm going to drop in is a link to our Kickstarter. Uh, we haven't started it yet. Um, and any support you can give us, we would appreciate. But the thing that we would love, even if you're not interested in donating to it or whatever, is just to follow it, just so we can judge the amount of interest that's in that. So I put both of those things in the chat. And the other thing you can do to help us out right now is to watch our streams. Because I keep telling the story, I'm trying to get my monetization back on YouTube, not because I want to monetize videos, but I want to take the ads off of our trailers. So the thing we need right now is watch hours. So you guys coming in and tuning into the YouTube videos is probably the most helpful thing that you could do immediately right now for us. And again, we appreciate all your suggestions. If you have suggestions for the games or ideas, the Discord channel is a place to do this. I appreciate all the support we've gotten so far, especially after all these years, for you guys to show up and be excited about this. It's really an amazing experience for all of us involved, because oops, I dropped Heinz off. There we go.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my bad. Sorry. It was totally not intentional. But to work on something where people like know about it and they're excited about what's coming in is a fun thing to do. It's fun. It's fun to interact. So doing these streams, getting to show stuff off to you, and having people care about it is really great. And I can't express any more gratitude than I just have unbelievable amount of gratitude for the fact that people are here doing this. So Heinz, do you have anything before we take off here?
no, I just want to say y'all are awesome, and it's a privilege to be working on a game with the community like this. The energy is huge, so please keep coming and showing up. And thanks, Tom, for having me on.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, everybody. I've been doing this at the same time every day. I cannot do it at the same time tomorrow, so I'm not sure if it'll happen. But I've been sending the invites out on social media. I think if it happens, it'll probably be later in the evening. And do you want more streams? This is the question I have, is that if do you want me to keep doing this? Because it's like I'm afraid that these are getting boring. But yeah, again, thank you for everybody for doing that. Drop by the Discord server, subscribe. All of this stuff really helps us out at this stage. It doesn't, all of the stuff that seems like really easy to do, really has a big impact. So subscribe, watch our other streams. We've done 5 or 6 of these now. And even, I'm going to tell you, even if they're long, but if you just open one up in a browser and let it go, this happens, and then my camera goes out. Open up in a browser. That's all, folks. Open it up in a browser. It actually helped us out at this point because we need the watch hours. Yeah, this is it's an issue. I think the camera's falling asleep is what's going on.
Yeah, Discord again.
Yeah, I'll have to pull this thing apart and do this. I'm definitely a noob at this. But okay, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you dropping by. Thank you so much. Bye bye.